Hey guys, this is Lisa from TRW, and in this video I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on how to make cute embroidery hoop art using spare fabric and Caesar heat transfer vinyl. So I'm going to be doing this with Caesar Easy Weed and white, and then we're also using glitter and in old gold. And as a note, I don't embroider, so I apologize in advance if I don't use the embroidery hoop correctly, but hey, it looked good in the end, so everybody wins. So I'm going to be putting my fabric in this embroidery hoop. Now this is a 6-inch embroidery hoop. Now the reason why I got this is that it's a good size, you don't use too much vinyl, but it's not obnoxiously loud but it's not obnoxiously large or small. So I'm going to be doing this for a small group that I'm hosting. I think it's a really cool thing to do. And I'm going to be putting it on striped fabric. Now, whenever you put glitter on top of a pattern, best practice, in my opinion, is to do a slight offset around it. It kind of frames your material a little bit better, makes it a little bit more legible. So I have my font right here. I'm using a font I purchased a while back called Just Love, and you can see right now it is still a font. If I zoom in, you can see right there. So we're going to go over, and the first thing I'm going to do is weld it. That got rid of my overlapping lines in there. And I personally would like my font to be a little bit thicker, so I'm gonna go over to my offset panel. I have my font selected. Click on offset and then type in a distance of 0.02. I'm gonna hit enter to preview. You're gonna see a slight line around it and then hit apply. Now if I move my original out of the way, here's my new one. I'm gonna fill that in. So now you can see it's just a little bit thicker. It makes it a little bit easier to cut and weed. So now we have our font all set up, and now I'm going to make my outline around my font. So we're going to go ahead, choose offset again, and I'm going to type in a distance of 0.04. Not too big, just a little bit around there. I think that looks good, and then hit apply. All right, so now we have our offset and our design right here. So I want this whole thing to be about 4 inches wide. So I'm going to select my offset and my text, right click, and group it together. And the reason why I'm doing that is I want to use the scale function, and so the scale function only works on one object or groups of objects. So we're going to go over to the top here. This is my scale. Make sure you have this lock turned on. It's going to keep your aspect ratio. And then I'm going to type in 4 for my width and then hit enter. So now you can see my design is all set like this. I can go ahead, right click, and ungroup it. And now really it's just a matter of cutting. So I'm just going to go ahead, make sure I have these flipped. So I'm going to right click, flip horizontally. And now I'm just going to cut each color. This bottom part is going to be in white Easy Weed, and this is going to be in old gold glitter. So I'm going to go ahead, cut and weed those, and then we're going to jump over and start pressing our design. Okay, so here's my embroidery hoop. Again, this is a 6-inch embroidery hoop. This one is bamboo. I got it from Michael's. And then here is my fabric that I clearly had no regard for how neatly I cut it, but it's going to go in the embroidery hoop, and then I'm going to trim the excess. So I'm not concerned with that. So I'm just going to kind of place my embroidery hoop on top just to kind of get a good feel of how the pattern's going to be in there. And then I'm going to kind of take my design, I'm going to move the glitter and kind of place the beginning part or my offset down to figure out how I want it placed. So I'm going to put this just centered on this line there. Now if you want to add an angle, you can totally do that. Don't forget, you can nudge your embroidery hoop down a little bit, so if you don't like where it is, you can adjust it. All right, so I'm going to move this out of the way. Now this material is cotton. It's a cotton blend, so it'll press just fine. So I have my heat press set at around 305 degrees. That's what I'm going to use to do my vinyl and Easy Weed. It's a good temperature for both. So I'm going to go ahead and tack this down just for a couple seconds. The cool thing about Easy Weed is it can stick after just a second or two. Now you do want your proper time, temperature, and pressure, so time meaning the amount of time heat is on it. But the great thing, and this is good for layering, is that it will just stick after 1 second. Now that doesn't mean you can just do every press that you want for 1 second, because they won't stay, it won't cure. It'll come off in the wash, but it's great for your layering. Now this cover sheet, this carrier on the vinyl covers the whole bottom part, so I'm just going to go ahead and press this for 15 seconds. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, so we have that set up. Let's move our cover sheet. Go ahead and peel that up. So now we have our design all set. I think it looks pretty good so far. So let's jump over. I'm going to go over to my desk and we're going to assemble the embroidery hoop. All right, so here's my hoop and here is my fabric. So we're just going to take this little screw right here. I'm going to unscrew it to make it loose. Now this does have this blue protective cover. It's just to protect that little metal piece. You can rip that off. I'm going to leave it on for time's sake. All right, so this is the way it's going to go. My fabric is going to go over this loop, and then this one goes around it. So let's go ahead, set this up. And so I'm going to be working in reverse so you guys can see it well. So I might get a little bit awkward, but hey, it works out. So we're going to set this up. I'm just kind of feeling where the center is. And then now I'm going to kind of just take this, kind of set it up to see how I like it. So I want to nudge this down just a little bit. We can go like that. And again, this is something that you'll just get better with time. I've probably used an embroidery hoop like maybe 3 times ever at the most. So this may not be the best method of putting my material on it. And let me know in the comments if I'm doing this wrong. But hey, I want to put vinyl on fabric and then make it look pretty. So that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, so we have this set right here. I'm pretty satisfied with the placement. Now I'm just going to take my little screw. I'm going to take it and just tighten that back on there. And now once I'm done, I'm just going to trim the excess of my material outside the embroidery hoop. So again, this is not meant to be like a functional embroidery project. I don't embroider, but I think it's a really cool project to use your HTV and your spare fabric that you may want to use. So I'm just tightening this up. We're going to set it up like that. So really cool. I know everyone's been doing this with different Christmas designs. I thought that this would be really nice because I can keep this up all year long. So there you go. Here's my embroidery hoop. I just went ahead and trimmed the excess off the back. And so we have this nice design. We have our offset to make it legible. And the cool thing about this is I can keep it up all year long. Now, this is great because there's so much flexibility. You can choose whatever fabric you like, whatever design you want, and then just slap it in there. So I think it's really cute. I hope you enjoy it. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you think, if this is something you think you're going to make or if you're going to do it for Christmas, anything like that. And if you want to see more tutorial videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more videos.